Hey guys, I'm RozaldVane, and welcome back to another episode of Eliza. Where we last left off was that we basically are on a new day. I'm just kidding. No, we're not in the new day in the game, but we're in the new episode of a new day. Probably gonna be doing one video here. Sadly, I want to do another episode, but I was kind of like busy with something else, so we'll see. Let's get through this. In the last episode, we basically finished out another day of being a Eliza operator, I guess I would call it. I don't think it's an operator. I think it was something specific, but I just forgot the naming of it. A proxy, there we go. We finished up our job for the day as a proxy, and we found out that we have a transparency mode that we dove into to knowing about Maya, and also we talked to Harmon again, which was fantastic to see everything, kind of like some returning characters, I guess, and getting to know them at least. Anyways, yeah, we're talking to Erland here to discuss what he's gonna ask us. Like, he's asking something about Eliza here, so that'll be the case. Yeah, so he started off saying thanks for meeting up with me on kind of a short notice.
I didn't mean to worry you, it's just something I wanted to talk about.
It's fine. What happened?
Well, what happened was... where should I start? First of all, Raynor wants Eliza to be more than something that's used just for therapy.
Oh?
He sees it as more of a general system for talking to people, like a personal assistant.
So it's so instead of Eliza, it's like Alexa. Is this because is that why the name is familiar to or similar to Alexa in a way?
The counseling is just one of a whole range of apps he has in mind for the future.
Yikes.
I'm familiar with his thinking on that.
I wasn't.
Okay, so in service of developing these things, Raynor wants us to make copies of Eliza's core data and hand it off to multiple teams around the world.
Oh.
Some of them not even Skanda teams. Contractors, vendors, random partners.
So he was basically outsourcing Eliza to make Eliza more diverse and almost kind of universal almost.
Sounds like a big file to move around.
It is, but that's not the problem.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
Well, so we're fine with sharing Eliza with whoever wants it?
But
Anyone just gets access to the corpus?
Sounds like a pretty typical process.
sounds like a dangerous process because it means that that whole thing could be stolen and reused and repurposed into a bad thing, I bet.
That's how big companies work, isn't it?
Not entirely, but
I know, but it just feels wrong to let all these teams poke and prod at it like it's a specimen for them to dissect.
understandable.
Who knows what they'll do with it? Eliza is built from people's real thoughts and feelings. I wouldn't say it has humanity, but it was built from humanity.
True.
There's something there. So when Raynor talks about it like, we'll just duplicate this data set and have the labs do whatever it is they're going to do, how do we know they'll treat it with the respect it deserves and not just pry it open? Slice it up into little pieces.
I mean, that's the hard thing, is that technology is kind of like that in a sense. Like, you don't just have, like... Well, from my experience, you have, like, Unreal Engine and Unity. Like, you're basically giving the whole engine, the entirety of the engine, to somebody else, but basically at a point where the developers don't let you kind of deal with the Unreal and Unity developers don't let you kind of deal with the internals of the engine, but you can create components and just, like, plug away with like stuff you can make. So like if you have like something you want to do pertaining to graphics card or physics, like better different types of physics, you can just like attach your like sort of key piece of work into it to kind of make it work and become sort of like a modification of like for the engine itself or the usage of the tool. I mean, that's the point of technology, is that's the kind of thing. But I think that what he's more afraid of is the idea that the engine is open source. So, like, it could technically be scrutinized and changed entirely to a point where it could be, like, really be weird and, like, it wouldn't even be Eliza anymore by that point. But I also think that I kind of fear that if you do that, like, leaving it super open, that business of Eliza will disappear, because you'll see a lot of people try to do way more higher improvements that turns it into more of a machine and less so of a humanistic like app. And I think that's what Erland's concerned about, is just turning it less of a humanistic app and more into a robotic app. that becomes like an AI driven robot speaking to a consumer or a person who needs that kind of like life, I guess.
It bothers me. I know, it's silly. I know it's just data. I shouldn't care about this stuff.
Erland.
He has every right to care. He's a developer, obviously. No, I think the first one matters.
This is the first time I've heard a concern like this raised. I know where you're coming from, though. Sometimes you grow attached to the things you work on. Like, really attached.
True. I actually think I grew attached to my older projects, but I think those were ones that I acknowledged failure or success, and that I try to learn from those things and try to reevaluate those projects I've worked on. But I don't grow too attached to a point where I'm like, oh, that was the one thing in my life that I think was defined who I am. Like, I think that it's best if you do the thing, learn from it, and move on. Like, make an entirely better thing that might be better than that, or make something that's entirely different, then explore who you are as a person from those things.
Yeah, I've put a lot of thought and work into Eliza since I inherited it. It's natural that maybe I'm a little protective, right?
Yeah, everyone's protective to things they've given so much time to, so much money as well.
I thought maybe you'd feel the same way.
3 years out, yeah, right. Well, I mean, Evelyn could probably still have attachments, but that's like, she disappeared 3 years after Damien's death, I guess. Yeah, I do agree with Erland. I kind of do.
I do. I agree with you. The moment we say things are just data is the moment we enable all kinds of violence.
Ew.
I just wish I knew what to do.
What choice do you have?
I'm not sure. This is the first time something like this has happened to me. I did take an ethics of engineering course in school, but the examples were all pretty clear-cut problems. Would you build software for a bomb? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't expect my personal feelings to be mixed up in it, too. Listen to me talk. Eliza being special, something worth protecting.
Give me a second. Let me do something first. Alright, sorry about that. I had to check on something. Alright, let's go.
I'd be a laughingstock if I started saying those things at the office.
About how he feels about Eliza?
My coworkers would say, "Come on, Erland, stop attributing human qualities to this piece of data. It's not the same thing as real people."
I mean, it came from a real person, as Erland just said. Like, it has humanistic qualities, right?
It's just a corpus. That has nothing to do with the people that generated it.
How would you know? That's what I would always ask those kind of people, though.
And besides, don't you want Eliza to help more people? This is how we get there.
The problem is nobody knows exactly that's true, though. Even Mark, the one who got fired or laid off or whatever it is, the guy who was super angry about Skanda, acknowledged that Eliza was super useless, and there was no point to it, to have it exist. And here we are. We have like two. Yeah, it's interesting because we got two individuals who are like complete opposites. Erland, who's very empathetic, very emotional about like the whole idea of Eliza. Well, Mark is the more logical and intellectual kind of type of person with no empathy about anything. No EQ, no, not EQ, but like no like sympathy for anything. Like no emotion at it. Just do the thing, get the most results. And it's pretty interesting to see two lenses of the Skanda workspace, and it's really interesting to see them relate and dive into Eliza to some capacity. It's really cool. I like this. It's really cool world building-ish kind of matter, and also kind of like perspective, which is really awesome.
And who am I to argue with that? These are reasonable points. But I don't know. I think maybe something does live on. Even when you take the names out, even when you anonymize everything. People's stories are still inside there, in some form, in some way.
Yeah. Like, if you see things that are like the way they are, there's always a reason why it came to be. I've actually noticed something. But I don't know if it's going to contribute to later on. But, like, so far there's, like, half the building, or a part of the building is, like, covered in shadow. Let me use my mouse cursor. Yeah, like, this part right here, this line is, like, a shadow. Like, is that... It's kind of, like, an artistic thing? Or is it, like, for the lighting? Or is it just, like, is there actual meaning to that, I wonder? Like, I'm imagining if we come back here again later on in the story, and, like, the shadows are, like, a lot more, like, this way, and, like, this is how much light's left, I would be like, is it saying that the door's closing?
I just want to make sure we have some respect for them.
Yeah. I mean, Eliza's Evelyn, literally.
Welcome to your first moral decision in tech, Erland.
Oof.
It certainly won't be your last.
It's not much of a decision. Like you said, I don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
I just have to go along with it. I was so amazingly lucky to get this opportunity. Running the whole Eliza program almost as soon as I graduated college.
That's a huge undertaking, honestly. Especially as a graduate. So, like, basically a junior entry-level programmer.
Rainer took a big chance on me. I can't just walk away from that. Besides, if I left because of something like this, I'd be giving up all the ways I can make a difference by staying. Rainer isn't a bad person either. He's just pushing for his own goals. I need to see this through. I'll do what he's asking me to do. Sorry. Thanks for listening to me talk in this confused way.
No, there's no bother. I think it's very useful for both me as the player and Evelyn as a character.
I'm usually more together than this. I've probably kept you from something important.
No, not really.
No, it's okay. I'd already finished up work for the day when you texted.
Yep.
People seem to assume I'm busy, but I'm really not. Not these days. Later tonight, I'm going to visit a friend.
Nora?
But that's all I have going on.
Are we visiting Nora again? She's an awesome person.
Okay. Well, sorry.
You can stop apologizing, too.
Yeah, there's nothing to apologize here, though. Yeah, because Evelyn just said, got nothing going on, just visiting a friend after this. It's just normal life.
Right. Right. Thanks, Evelyn.
And I think that's also a key thing that a lot of people in Washington State, and maybe even in my life that I've seen so far, people do. And it's like, I think I used to do it too, but I've grown to just try to stop doing that, which is apology. But I think that sometimes I inherently say sorry because I don't think about it, and I just say that instead. Like, I forgot what the example was, because I know in school when I was doing the thing, everyone kept saying sorry. Like, oh yeah, like when we bump into people, they're like, sorry, and something like that, and I was just like, usually I say excuse me or something like that instead, because I'm just like not meaning to, like, bump into them, so I'm just like, excuse me, I didn't mean to bump into you, and then I move forward, or like I block somebody's way as like, excuse me, instead of like sorry. Because I usually say, I think excuse me is the best way to kind of like, it's almost synonymous to sorry, but it's not, because excuse me means that you just didn't mean it, but you just needed to be on your way, kind of thing, or you were trying to go somewhere that just kind of made you into an encounter to the other person.
Well, I for one should get back to the office. Another meeting.
So much meetings. I can feel the guys' meetings.
Is it with the team in Romania?
No, the Boston office this time.
Oh?
It's late for them, so I should try to get it done quickly.
So like, since this daylight time, it's kind of like maybe 5 p.m., 6 p.m.-ish? Then over there would be like 9, 10-ish? Mostly 9, I think. Erland hurries off to his next meeting. Should I get some more coffee? Oh, it's Ray. How'd the first transparency mode go? I was going to ask about it after you finished, but I didn't see you in the office. Oh, I had to duck out right after. Sorry. I like how we're apologizing here. No problem. There weren't a lot of questions. I thought there would be more, which is true. I also thought there would be like a slew of questions to kind of define the next interaction with Maya in the Eliza app. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's always very tense, and the questions are really short. I thought maybe you could tell me why. This feature came after my time, so I'm not sure. If I were to take a guess, Eliza only needs human confirmation to make sure it hasn't messed up. It's like it already knows it was the right answers, which would make it rather advanced as a system. I don't know any other program capable of something like that. Maybe Rainer is right? Maybe Rainer's right. About what? Oh, he's very upbeat. Upbeat. About Eliza's capability or capacities to understand humans and act like them. I'm not sure I believe that, but I guess it is impressive in some ways. Yeah, it is. I feel lucky. Lucky that I get to be here and witness the revolution. And lucky I got to meet you too. I really enjoyed your company the other night. You were right, baking was fun. Is fun. Thanks for having me. I actually think this one. The second one seems a bit more nicer to her. Isn't it? Maybe you can come over again sometime. Gotta run. See you soon. Alright. I'm waiting for the dreaded, alert system up for my phone. Alright, let's keep going. He asked for Erland's name and wrote Aaron. Is this a Starbucks reference again? He should ask his customers to spell their names. Why don't we just have customers write their names? Jesus Christ. That could have, saved time. Well, actually, no, because the server needs to read the names, so they have to be the ones writing it. Sucks. I could stand to wear something with a little color in it. I looked it up. Komorebi means the light filtering through leaves. Something you can see when the sun is out. Komorebi is pretty interesting. I never knew there was a name or a term or a definition behind it all. Yeah. Alright, let's continue. I'm hoping that the next part isn't going to take longer than the time I needed. Time to head to Nora's place. Yeah, I was right. I find what it looks like one of the Capitol Hill's older buildings. I wonder how much longer it'll be around. Lately, it feels like everything's being replaced. Oh, she's talking about the building that we're headed to?
Sorry about the mess.
Yeah, I guess she's trying to mention that the apartment space is a bit too old, and they might deconstruct it to reconstruct a better apartment space, maybe. My guess. I've never been to Capitol Hill in Washington State myself, but yeah, I've seen other locations, of course. It's a little messy, but not in a careless way. Just scattered. Lots of electronics everywhere.
Oh, it's fine. Not like my place is super clean or anything. Is this all music equipment?
Most of it. There are some controllers I was working on, too. I wanted to create this real-time control apparatus. You know, like that thing that Imogen Heap uses?
I have no clue. Who?
You don't know who that is? Okay, I'm totally going to show you some videos later.
I mean, typically, I think that would be the same with my capacity. I don't know who the heck's that.
I wanted my version to react to changes in my body temperature, too, so it could get more excited as the set went on.
But wouldn't the body temperature requires you to tape something on your neck or something like that? Like to kind of decipher the temperature?
Or maybe it would really get going if I had a fever. I like that idea. Turning sickness into art.
No, Nora, stop. No, no thanks. That sounds kind of depressing.
Do you want anything to drink? Or I could set up a basic patch on the Euro rack for you to play around with.
Either or, it's pretty...
A basic patch on the Euro rack.
Are you nervous? I think the best way to learn music is just diving in, all the way.
Actually, I find that diving into anything for the first time that you haven't done before is the best way of learning, faster. I mean, I'm a type of person who, like, my weakest way of learning is literal. Like, if it's being given to me in text, I would probably take the longest to probably learn it faster. But if it's given to me either through a multimedia visual, like sight and sound, or just me doing hands-on, which hands-on is my strongest way of learning, then I think that I would learn way faster. I think that's the point of a lot of people. People have different ways of learning quickly, and people just find out when they work at it, I guess.
If you're willing to experiment and play around, you will learn so much.
True. I'm really here to visit with you.
I'm really here to visit with you.
Okay. Well, sure. Let me see if this amp is still working. After the show, it went kind of a little strange.
Oh. Nora starts to tinker with some of her equipment.
Music technology is just like any other kind. You take the inputs and you translate them to the outputs. Once you learn the basic principles, it all just flows from there.
Fair.
Oh, that gives me an idea. You could take metrics from Eliza's sessions and have them direct a dynamic music score. Like if you took the head tilt value or the eye tracking and used them to drive the parameters of pitch and filter?
I feel like she worked on Eliza with us. Why is she, like, not able to do that herself?
It'd be like, ciao.
Oh my god. I feel like this is, like, embarrassing if this was spoken in the public.
That doesn't sound like something a counseling client might want to hear.
True.
Oh, no, I didn't mean for the client to listen to.
Oh, for us to listen to.
I meant it more like if you were going to make like a performance art piece based on a person in counseling. You know what I mean?
I think I do.
I think I do.
I miss having access to those cameras and sensors. I should have kept some instead of returning them to Skanta like a good girl. I bet those components would have enjoyed being liberated for the purpose of art.
Maybe.
Instead of being used to degrade our humanity one little bit at a time.
Yeah. You don't like where things have gone? It's true, isn't it? I think this one.
You don't like where things have gone?
Because I always see people have a different perspective on degradation. Degradation? Is that the way you pronounce it? Degradation of, like, humanity? Like, I find it interesting that people have a different sense of that. Like, how humanity has fallen, like, either how far. Like, you would ask... Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that one day when we have normal, like, society again, like, people go out there and do, like, a full-on video and asking random people on the street, do you think that humanity has fallen? By how far has it fallen? And, like, a scale out of 100.
I'm worried, Evelyn. Sure, maybe this huge database of people's deep, dark secrets is going to be used 100% properly. Maybe it will always be kept completely safe, and we can completely trust Skanda to do the right thing, now and in the future. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 100 years from now.
I love how she just said it the way she did. 10 years from now. 20 years from now. It's just like the way she said it. It's just interesting.
Sorry, I know you still might work there. I just have so little confidence in these big tech companies right now.
Fair.
They act like they have all the answers, instead of listening to people's concerns.
Yeah. It's been kind of pounded in our heads multiple times throughout this game that they aren't listening at all.
And if you ask them why they aren't listening, they can't even explain the reasoning in a clear way. They just want to win.
Money. Money, 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 money. Is exactly what they want.
You've been a proxy for a while. I bet you've already seen some privacy mistakes.
Not yet.
Or at least some things that made you think.
Somewhat. I just haven't thought of it deep enough, but I do think there's a lot of privacy issues that could raise into the public's eye eventually, I bet. But we're under NDA, which... Either one is kind of... Yeah, I'll just pretend like I do.
Yeah, I have.
I knew it. A guy like Raynor doesn't get that he might not be allowed to do certain things.
Oh yeah, transparency mode would be one of them, but...
Is that really the future you want to help build?
I'm not building it, though. I'm just only working there.
It's not even that I don't trust Raynor, even though I don't. I wouldn't trust anyone with a store of data like that.
True.
It wouldn't be so difficult for employers, government, anyone to combine different sources together and eventually learn everything about you.
Oh yeah, that's also the case. Erland did mention that if it goes public, if it gets sourced out to everybody, or an outsource of the Eliza, people will probably steal a lot of privacy data that comes out of that. Oh, that would be dangerous too.
Everything. They'll know your face, your body, your medical history, and now everything you told the counselor in private too.
Yeah, and then you also talk about your relationship, maybe even your like financial history and stuff like that could come out of it too. It's bad.
It's kind of like a nightmare to imagine it. That's why I left. That's why I thought it was important for me to stop making a contribution to something like that.
Promising of it is still compelling. You don't think I might be able to change things from within? Yeah, I'm curious about this.
You don't think I might be able to change things from within?
If I still worked for Raynor and I said these things, I'd be called a troublemaker, and he'd find a way to get rid of me.
But he hasn't gotten rid of me, and he wanted me there.
You know how it works, Evelyn.
I know, but I'm saying that Raynor hasn't really been saying go away. It's been come back, stay, come back is what he's been telling us.
You have to be a true believer to last long at a place like that.
Fair.
Once you develop doubts, you are committing heresies.
Oof.
Are you a true believer?
I would say probably not.
Probably not. He said something strange recently. He thinks Eliza could be the base for some kind of general artificial intelligence.
Oh yeah. He's been saying that a lot.
No. Strong AI? Really? Ugh, there's something about the books these guys read, the conferences they go to. Everything is so totalizing, so utopian. I think it messes with their brains.
Yeah, they just want something perfect, but also they don't understand what real AI is and what kind of like psychological motive they want with their apps or tools. It's just really bad.
I don't think you could spend longer than a few days in a tech company executive suite before you completely lose touch with the real world.
Mm-hmm. Even Soren's doing the same thing, saying the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that.
Well, we could talk through it. Say Raynor is right, huh? And Eliza becomes the basis for human-like machine intelligence. What does that mean for you? How do you want to take responsibility for that? Okay, I need a drink now. Hold your thought and let me make drinks. You like absinthe, don't you?
Maybe?
I think I do. Maybe.
I have not drank any sort of alcohol, so I don't know. I feel like absinthe is pretty, like, strong.
You'll like this. I promise.
Nora busies herself in the kitchen area, making drinks, humming some kind of tune. And we're to explore her place. And phone. No? Alright, cool. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to end it here a little bit earlier before the 30-minute mark. A little bit. Probably like by 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. What is that? I'm trying to see what this picture is. It looks kind of unique. T-shirt. Strange, but yeah. Have I seen this kind of thing? I've actually seen this kind of thing before with my professors at school, and it's pretty cool. I actually think it's really cool. I just don't understand it that well. But I've heard names, and he's spoken about them and saying how each one works slightly. Oh, she has a cat, doesn't she? Oh. It's like a workbench door to some oblivion. This is scary, though, because I don't even know what's behind that door. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next episode where nobody minds. Hope you guys have a great, amazing day, weekend, night, or whenever watching this. I'm just examining her room a little bit. I actually want to take a screenshot. I like this room. It does kind of look like a Seattle apartment space. I've not seen enough of this type. I've seen a lot of the sort of like homey based apartments, kind of like feels like a home kind of thing, and less brick wallish, I guess I would say. So it's pretty interesting to see differently here. But yeah, in the next episode we'll go ahead and explore Nora's room, probably continue with Nora's conversation about AI and potentially what Raynor is doing that might be a really bad thing. Good progress, I think, today. I think that we'll try to finish this game hopefully by the next 4 or 5-ish episodes. I'm hoping to finish it that much, or finish it up by that point, but we'll see what happens. I really, really hope. But yeah, this will probably be it for now in terms of the session today. I'm not going to probably go for another episode today because I'm busy. We're out of time. So yeah. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching, and that's it for this episode. Roz, out.